back. Glad to see you again. So we got some stuff done today. This would be day 2. Here's some of the stuff we got done today. Light box here that I was talking about yesterday. That's going to be our solution for now. Coming around driver's side, the right-hand side. Yesterday I showed you a nice big gap across here. Well, it was just a matter of actually, these just needed to be set up, actually pounded in, and the whole thing went in perfectly. So that was an easy fix. Next would be to prime it and paint it, because I can still see some bare wood right in here, and that's not going to fly. So, remember the plugs yesterday that had the really big openings? So I took a piece of 1x4, cut it to 7 inches long, and then cut out for the box, got a box extension, and now this is what we have. So the next step is going to be to putty these holes and clean them up a little bit, and then put the plug in and the cover on and call this one done. So we opted not to do the round over on the sides because this is actually rough. So it would look kind of strange to have 4 edges that are smooth and a front that's not. So this is actually going to save us time. With all the pipes in the front and edges and whatnot, we opted to make this our intake, this cold water line. And this is just going to be, again, for future use. So it's been capped. We put discussion on here. Now that I've resecured this seam here, we'll clean this up a little bit, and then we'll add the pipe insulation. So as you look up the seam from the front, you can still see the fact that these 2 sheets weren't put on correctly. You can see a gap gets narrower and narrower as it goes up. Also, you can see that this stud here is recessed from the top plate. See how it goes in from the Z-bar up inside there? There's a gap. So I found that out after I set these nails. There's not much I'm going to do about it at this point. It's not a structural issue, it's just an aesthetic one, because I checked and the stud is nailed off through the top plate. So I went with the same thing, cut a 1x4 down to 7 inches, cut out the middle, and put in a remodel box. So this has been caulked on all the edges. The other thing I'd like you to notice is the paint all over the place around here. This is all primer. Whenever I do, so this was a pre-primed piece of lumber, but when you cut it, that primer's been compromised. So when I cut this, anywhere I cut this, I paint the ends, I paint this cut, and then when I'm done, I'm going to paint it one more time just to make sure it's all completely covered around the front or side. So this would be the passenger side. I was showing you this yesterday and how the pipe just looked all funny and weird. Well, that's my solution. I'm calling it done. So when they want a hose bib on here, we're going to remove this shark bite fitting and either put another one on there that's a hose bib or sweat one on, but at least we have the option later on. I left a whole bunch on here. I didn't measure the exact amount, but that's more than enough to sweat a fitting on there. So for this wheel well gap, we've got it all masked off with this masking tape, which today was really hot, and this is south facing, so this side got kind of messed up. We might end up redoing this one, but we're going to backfill this with foam to start, and then we're going to worry about the next step to make it all pretty. But we wanted to get some bulk in there rather than just fill the whole thing with caulk. We'd need like, what, 10 tubes, sarcastically speaking. So the foam will help take up some of that, and then we'll just seal the foam real well afterwards with whatever means necessary. Like I said, either a piece of trim that's cut real nice, caulking. Moving on inside, I have not put the wires back inside the box, so they look really bad, make things look sloppy. But on the inside, it turned out they used a tile box, so I left that piece in there and I just zipped the whole box right out the front, and that's what gave me the idea to put in the remodel box. So now it's just a matter of resealing the edges of this box to make it waterproof, tying our wires back in, and that's done. So yesterday I noticed that this said wall exhaust fan. Well, I found out that they did buy a wall exhaust fan. It looks like something out of like above a stove at a restaurant. It's basically a round opening with a fan that I didn't see a cover for the front that goes into what looks like a roof vent that's got a spring-loaded louver on it. But it requires a minimum of 4 3/4 inch thick wall. Well, it requires a minimum of 4 3/4 inch wall. This is a 2x4 wall, so you have 3.5 inches. So what we did is we went to Home Depot. We found a fan for about $59, maybe 60 bucks. It wasn't that much money. And then bought a fan exhaust kit where it comes with the tube, the adapter, and the louvered vent for outside. So it's gonna go up in here. We'll, like I was talking about yesterday, we'll duct down, drill through this blocking, and we'll put in the outside louvered vent out there, and that'll be done, no problem at all. So this light box I was showing you yesterday ended up not moving because we just notched the trim around it. We're just gonna call it done. We caulked it really well. I'm gonna add some spackle and then put the light fixture on and just be done. So, I mentioned the electrical panel. Today at lunchtime I was tracing the feed wire back, which is a 10 gauge wire. When I got over here to this feed, which I was talking about yesterday, this is one of the boxes that did not get cut in. I noticed this tape. This got hit at some point when the siding was being done. There's a nail line right behind it back in here. So they tried to repair this with electrical tape. It is being inspected, and that is a sore thumb. It's, you know, bright red thumb. It stands out to anybody with any experience. So if you do nick the wire, just pull a new piece, because it's not worth covering it up to try and save yourself 20 bucks or whatever the price of this wire may be. Let's say 50 bucks. Save the 50 bucks just for your house to burn down. That wouldn't be any good. Generally speaking, the electrical's done after the exterior siding for that reason right there, because if it runs through the wall, nail could hit it that way. I did get paid to check an entire house one time where somebody had gone and done all the electrical with the open framing, no drying, no siding, no interior, nothing. And there was one nail in a piece of wire. It took me the entire day to find it, but there was one nail in a piece of wire. So they ended up costing themselves a bunch of money because they had to pay me for an entire day because they were trying to save money and get things done faster. So let's just put in the wires now because it's really easy to pull them with all the exposed everything. Well, that didn't go so good. At least this time they put nail plates inside and out. I did notice a knurled over nail outside by that big gap, which was in the video yesterday. That one I pulled out and then caulked the hole. So this light box still needs to get cut in. Above this door there was no header. We went ahead and put in a header, a small header in here. The spacing was also not 24, so it was unsupported, so we put in another piece of framing here. We still have a long way to go. We're still finding things, we're still looking around, but again, nothing we found so far is like a jaw dropper. Oh my god, this is a disaster, walk away now. No, it's all been just oh, okay, we gotta fix that, we gotta fix this, we gotta fix that. So I learned a couple things about the inspection and code for tiny houses today. I was reading through the NOAA pre-inspection checklist. These hold downs need to be a minimum of 1/2 inch thick or wide. These are 5/8, so we're good there, but they need to be every 6 feet along a wall. This house is, I forget, I think it's around 13 feet long, so that means we need to add 2 lengthwise, one on the left, one on the right. This wall is about 6.5. So we have to put one in the middle here and one in the middle in the back. Not a big deal, except that you can see how many nails go in here, and drilling through the frame of a trailer is not much fun, especially when the bottom plate's already been put on. We'll get it done. Again, it's not the end of the world, but tomorrow's supposed to be even hotter than it was today, so it'll be interesting. Yesterday I was talking about this wall, really haven't done anything with it yet. Did run some ideas by a contractor friend of mine this morning. He came by, but I didn't have time to get to this. But after fixing the boxes and doing a lot of talking and do some research on NOAA and so on and so forth with the code, I haven't had a chance, but this is on the list for tomorrow to take care of, along with quite a few other things like putting in these hold downs. So tomorrow will be another interesting day. That pretty much does it for today. Did a nice big shopping trip, bought a whole bunch of stuff. Can't wait for some stuff to go up tomorrow. I'd love to see some fixtures on it. So one of the goals for tomorrow is to check the wiring. One, I'm gonna check to make sure there's no nails in the wiring, because I've seen a lot of shiners, as the saying goes. Also make sure that our line, our load, and our switch legs are all in here. I don't want to cover this all up with drywall, have it look all pretty, and then have to tear it all down because I forgot to check something. So it'll be pretty easy to check, but it's worth spending the extra time to do it now rather than after I have all the drywall up. It is what it is. It's a learning experience for me too, because when I go put on workshops and teach people, or when I come in and get somebody unstuck from their build, I better know what I might be getting into when I get there, Gives me more experience because if I do come into a scenario that I've already run into, I already know the answer. So this is a lot of fun for me. I like the challenges, to be honest. I like this kind of stuff. I don't want the mainstream rubber stamp builds. I'd say all in all, I've actually seen licensed contractors build these things worse than these students did. There was a guy, I got asked to check a house down in, it was New Mexico. Santa Fe, I believe the workshop was. The guy claimed to be licensed in several states, but when I climbed underneath the house, I noticed several sticks as shims. Like, the guy went out in his yard and found branches and stuff and uses them as shims. Nothing lined up. Everything was crooked. Shower was in backwards, and I didn't say anything to him except, you know, it looks really nice. When you stand back here, you fold your arms and stand back, it looks great. But when you look, I didn't tell him, but when you look close, and I was not impressed. These students did a pretty good job, considering that before this class they had never swung a hammer, they'd never touched a saw. I think it's pretty good.